Lost the feed and we're back again. Hi, this is Mark Horner, Beyond90seconds.com, streaming to you live near Oso, Washington, where a tremendous mudslide unfolded here this morning, and a sudden rush of earth coming crashing down the hillside. This is the new roadblock that they've repositioned now here at Oso Loop Road. So previously the roadblock was closer to the scene, further east from here, about 1.5 miles west of the actual slide location on SR 530. We've now been moved further west, further away. We're at Oso Loop Road. Locals might refer to this as the top of the hill as you drive 530 along this stretch. So we're on higher ground, and this is where, for the past, I would say, half hour, 45 minutes, many local media, Seattle media, have been getting interviews with, I believe, the Washington State Patrol and now some locals as well about what's unfolded. I just got here about 15 minutes ago. I was still further, closer to the scene, quite frankly, near the previous roadblock. I was at the home of an older gentleman in his front yard. He explained to me that he and his wife, he's lived here for about 40 years. He shared how only about an hour before the slide, he and his wife were taking a leisurely walk on the old railroad tracks right in the thick of the slide area. But that was about an hour before the slide, so obviously he and his wife so thankful that they weren't there at that time, or else, quite frankly, they would have had no hope. They wouldn't have survived it. The other person I spoke to was a much younger man, in his, I estimate, mid-20s, 24, 25 years old. Lots of apprehension from him. He knows his good buddy's okay, but it's the family member of his good buddy whose home has been swept away, is what he told me. And so that young man is waiting to hear from his good buddy to hear how the family member is doing. And I don't know whether or not there are additional family members who might have been living inside that home that apparently simply no longer exists. Again, this is the scene. There's a lot of media here that's accumulating. When I say a lot, I mean it certainly seems that the primary channels out of Seattle are represented here with reporters and photographers and some newspaper photographers, I assume, as well, filing their reports. They've all talked to the public information officer, I believe, the PIO. They seem to be having some solid numbers regarding numbers of homes affected. I don't have that. Again, I was still inside the area compared to this scene. I was about 1.5 miles, 2 miles away from the scene, much closer than where I am right now, talking to locals. So you've probably heard some of the hard numbers coming out now in terms of what we're dealing with here. I have not. I'll give that to you quite candidly, but I can tell you what we're seeing here. This is 530, State Route 530, the road that runs, the state highway that runs from Arlington eastward to eventually Oso and then on to Darrington. And right now we're seeing several workers here making sure that nobody passes this point, it appears to me. You can see the road closed sign. I'm going to reposition, but before I do so, let me just tell you that if you've never been in this area, it always strikes me. It's an area that I love coming to. Whitehorse Mountain, Darrington, you pass through Oso. This is very much, it's kind of like stepping back in time for me, because I grew up in the Everett area when we used to have a lot of woods, and up here you've got those woods again. So it's always really cool, and plus it's just beautiful. We have snow-capped peaks, very much so, surrounding the nearby hills. As for those hills, yes, there are some immediate close rolling hills, and then just beyond them, some, dare I say, near mountains that don't have much snow. It's only a dusting on them, and they're kind of rounded at the top, and they're pretty close by. And then you have the jagged peaks that are also just tucked behind those large hillsides. So you are surrounded by some majesty here. Unfortunately, tragedy spilled down within it today, and obviously we're hearing now reports that there are deaths associated with this and missing people. So that's the developing story. I don't want to go venturing any further into that type of information because I simply would be speculating. I haven't spoken to the official person who's putting out that information just yet. But I will show you this scene. Let's move a little bit closer and show you what's transpiring here. Typical case of yet another motorist being told to turn around. Just so you know, because I know it's wobbly stuff, I'm streaming to you, and it's a low-quality stream, I get that, through the Ustream app on my iPhone 4S. The iPhone is mounted to a rig that is used for mounting my my Canon 7D DSLR to my tripod. So both cameras are on the same tripod, essentially, and that's why you're going to get some of this awkward movement and jiggling. Quite frankly, normally I'd make the the better quality camera my priority to get nicer images, nicer video, but because of the urgency of this developing story, I've pretty much made the stream the priority so I can get out information as quickly as possible and make that the focus on these live pictures for folks who obviously have at least a curiosity, and for some, so much more interest in terms of this story because they may know someone here, they may have family members here, and it also very well could be affecting people's travel plans. This gentleman heard people yelling help. This person heard people yelling help. He said you have to see it to believe it. He's very muddy on the bottom of his pants. He was obviously, based on what he's saying, and given his the information he's saying, he was at the scene.
They were digging, they were grabbing metals.
He saw people digging in the mud. He said people were putting roof metal above the mud, on the mud, so they can walk on it.
And I just didn't go further because I didn't want to get hurt. They were like good citizens.
Good Samaritans were stopping by and trying to help. Drivers.
Some people they just turned around, they went home.
Some people just turned around and went home.
I've never this number that looks pretty 2 miles from here that way. It's pretty My name is Paulo. He has a computer.
I'm going to try and talk to this gentleman. I'm going to try and talk to this gentleman in just a second.
Imagine the house by the river, that got completely washed out, and one of the fire guys said, that was my house. Yeah, that's what he said, that was my house.
He's explaining how a fire guy said, "Oh my, that was my house." A fire responder said, "That was my house," referring to a house that's now gone. We'll try and get to this gentleman very shortly here.
I can definitely do that, but if I try to connect it doesn't go through because they cut all the lines, everything. I can definitely do that, yeah. I have videos too from as soon as I arrived over there. And I mean, if you guys will take a look.
You want this one?
So can you? Thank you. There was a house right here. And the house is gone.
So this man was at the scene, and he is showing the crew's video that he shot, and he may have photos too of the location. This man says he heard people screaming for help, that drivers were stopping and putting roofing material like metal sheets over the mud so they could try and get to people to help them.
Actually, from here, I'm right in front of the house, but on the other side of the river. That shows you that house in the middle of the road. It's blocking the river, the water. It's a river full of mud.
Do you think you might have an adapter that can get it off of your phone?
Okay. Go ahead, guys. If you guys want to do it, go ahead.
So people are going to try and snag his footage now. Sir, may I speak with you?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Mark Horner. I have a news blog out of Snohomish called BeyondUseconds.com. Can I put this microphone on you?
You bet.
Tell you what, I have a silly request. Can I run this underneath your shirt and up to your collar? Thank you. Mind holding that and putting that in your pocket? Boy, you've got quite a story. I wish you didn't have to tell it. You know what I mean? I wish it didn't happen.
You did right.
Yeah. Okay. Just a moment, please, sir. Could I have you step a little bit closer? Okay. Is this your friend?
No.
Okay. Could you please give me your name, please?
Yes. My name is Paulo. P as in Paul, A-U-L-O. And my last name is Falcao. F-A-L-C-A-O.
So, I overheard your interview just now. It sounds like you were right there at the location. Tell me about your morning. When did things turn and become unusual? What happened?
I was on my way to pick up my kids from their mom's house for the weekend. And basically, I saw a truck and a boat driving towards Darrington too. And I was 3 cars behind of this truck and a boat. And then I just saw the darkness covering the road, like something unusual. And I had between 3 to 5 seconds to stop my car, and other 2 people was in front of me too. They did the same thing. Otherwise, we would be washed out at the same way. And basically, what we saw was one house from one side of the road going to the other side, and everything got washed out.
If I hear you correctly, you were arriving just as the slide was coming onto the road.
That is correct.
A few seconds earlier, you and the 2 motorists in front of you would have been swept away.
That is correct. If I would pass that truck and boat on my from also stretch over here, it probably would be my car, because the damage goes 2 miles heading that way.
So this is a very long or wide swath of slide that's come down.
That is correct.
So did you get out of your vehicle?
Yes.
And take me from that moment going forward. Were you wanting to help?
Willing to help right away. And like I said, I had between 3 to 5 seconds to 3 to 5 seconds to stop my car and put my hands on my head, and I just screamed. OMG, oh my God. And I just tried to help as much as I could. And I basically helped, I just helped as a good citizen. That's basically what I tried to do.
Were you able to reach people?
No, but we definitely heard a woman and a baby crying, screaming. And that's when 3 other people, they went towards the debris far away from where I was. And they rescued the baby out.
The baby got out?
The baby got out, yeah. And the baby was covered in mud.
How old would you say the baby was?
Probably like 7, no more than a year old.
7 months or a year?
No more than a year old.
No
more.
Boy or girl? Yeah, who could tell? And covered with mud. How could you tell? There's no need to be sorry. So, you also described people stopping and helping, and they were using roofing material or like metal sheets?
Metal shingle material and 2x4s, so we could walk above the mud. Make sure nobody would get, because the mud was up to the waist.
How are you holding it together right now? Are you in shock?
I am very in shock, yes, I am. Very much so. Maybe I don't show, but I am.
Yeah. You were on the way to visit your...
To go get my kids for the weekend.
Where were your kids?
Darrington.
Okay, so they would be okay.
They are okay.
Okay.
They are okay, thank God.
I'm looking at your shoes, and they're mud covered. You ventured into the muck.
Yes. I did. I just did because I had to help. I had to do something. I couldn't just stay right there and not do anything. I had to help. I had to remove a 2x4. Do something. That's all I can do.
When you heard those screams, what were they saying? Anything when they would scream, like help?
Help. Yeah. And yes, they were screaming help. And that's when the trooper that was walking away from the debris, he turned around and he said, "Let's just go and help." And that's basically, I didn't go all the way, I just stayed where the mud is, but I was basically in the middle of the debris where the house is.
I heard a lot of concern, and there's still concern that more mud could come down.
Sure.
So I'm just wondering, help affirm, if you will, what seems to be the case, that a lot of people risk their own lives to try and help others in that situation.
Yes, and at the same time we risk our lives too, because the smell of gas was in the air, and an explosion could happen. But like I said, I was just there like as a good citizen, and I'm sure if you were there, you'd do the same thing.
You're gonna hug those kids of yours tonight?
I'm not gonna be able to, because I'm very in shock, and my kids. To go to Darrington, I have to go around somewhere, and I just don't know how to get there.
Yeah, you have to go around the back way. It's quite a ways to go.
I just don't know how.
Yeah. So you, on your cell phone, you captured videos
and pictures.
Tell me about what you got on your phone.
I have videos of the first scene. As soon as I arrived, as soon as I got there, I just couldn't have the footage of the things happening, because I did not have time for it. It was really fast. Like 3 seconds, the whole road was covered.
And you saw a house go right across the road.
Oh yeah.
Pablo, is there anything I haven't asked you, sir, that you would like to add?
Not at all. I just apologize about my accent, the way I'm speaking. I'm sorry.
You have absolutely no reason to apologize for a very fine accent. It's wonderful that you can apparently speak more than one language. And it's also fantastic that you reached out to help others in a time of crisis. A lot of tragedy was literally unfolding right in front of you. Right. It had just come down the hillside. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. Thanks, you too. I'll get that from you. Yeah.
Hey, Paulo. You mind if I grab you 1 second?
Thank you so much.
Take you.
Yes.
Come over here.
What a compelling, moving, inspiring, horrific story that this man has just told us, Pablo, about literally driving up right on the slide as it crosses the highway. He had two vehicles. I think he said one was hauling a boat right in front of him. They were headed towards Darrington. And all of a sudden, I think he said, to use his words, things went black. And this rush of earth, to include a home, swept right across the roadway in front of them. Had they been only seconds, mere seconds earlier, by the sound of it, 5-10 seconds, they too could have been swept away. And then he describes getting out of the vehicle. And he describes hearing the screams of a woman and a child that I believe he said couldn't have been more than a year old, crying for help, saying, screaming, help. The adult anyway. And people stopping to try and help. Getting roofing material to lay flat above the mud and try to walk across it to get to these people. He says the woman and the baby were saved. How could he tell if it was a boy or a girl? I should never have asked. The child was covered with mud, 1 year old. He himself was en route to Darrington to pick up his kids. This is the way to Darrington. He says he won't be seeing his kids tonight now, but at least they're safe because this road isn't opening, by all appearances, anytime soon. He got video with his phone of the immediate aftermath. He took photos with his phone of the immediate aftermath. Unless by some miracle somebody had a live web camera going, this man that we just interviewed, Pablo, his video, his pictures, will perhaps provide the most immediate look of the landslide, the mudslide that unfolded in Oso, Washington today. Right now we're at the roadblock at Oso Loop Road. This is west of Oso. Earlier, the roadblock was closer to the scene, just 1.5 miles out. But they moved it out of safety concerns. There are concerns about the water backing up in the river. Locals tell me the river hasn't been running high. I looked at the river. I would concur. Not running high. It's the North Fork of the Stillaguamish River. Let me repeat that. The North Fork of the Stillaguamish River. However, once water starts backing up due to some object that's going nowhere, in this case a mountainside, you're going to have rising water. And where is it going to go? That is the immediate concern. If you were watching our earlier live streams, in the first one you saw us at the closer roadblock. We also showed the river. We were 1.5 miles from the scene. Then we went back about 1/2 mile away from the scene, right along the highway to the front yard of a gentleman who has lived here for 40 years. And he said that he and his wife had been right at that slide location an hour before the slide on a walk on what he referred to as the old railroad tracks. Feeling very fortunate now that they weren't there just an hour later. That gentleman had some insight. He said, you know what, it doesn't often flood up here, not at least around my place. He says, no, I believe he told me they don't get a lot of mudslides, although he said there was one recent mudslide about a week ago in the Oso area. And I asked him if the people who had that slide on their property contacted authorities. And he said, oh, yeah, they always do. You got to do that. I don't know if that is in any way related to the same hillside. Earlier today, I also interviewed a young man who appeared to be about 24, 25 years old. He was very concerned about a friend who is okay physically, but who had said that his family member's home is now gone. So the young man I interviewed is waiting to hear from his buddy. He wants to know if his buddy's family member is okay. So there was some anxiety there, no doubt. And that older man I referred to a moment ago, who's lived up here for 40 years, he just told me that once he learned about it, he's just been doing a lot of praying. And when I showed him a photograph on my phone of the missing hillside, now bare and exposed, he was speechless. They've not seen anything like this by all accounts. You'd be hard-pressed to find something of this magnitude in a lot of places in Snohomish County. This is extremely significant. Obviously, we're talking about loss of life. While I was interviewing those people closer to the scene than I am right now, media were gathered here at this new roadblock further away, and we're getting some nuts and bolts, if you will, some facts, at least as we know so far, from the public information officer, I believe. and they began the process of interviewing locals. So I have not become privy to the scope of this in terms of number of homes yet. I overheard a reporter saying 6, but I don't know if that's true. But you probably know more than I do. I'll continue to stream live. I appreciate your watching this stream on beyond90seconds.com. My name is Mark Horner. I'll continue to stream, and thank you for watching. A lot of times when I do these live streams, you folks chime in with excellent information on Twitter, so sending me direct messages and so forth. So I'll see if I can find my other phone now and check my messages. The stream. Did you hear that guy's story? Steve, could you hold this? Or actually, I'll hold it. Folks, I'm going to try something that's going to be challenging. I don't know that you're going to be able to see this, but I'm going to hold,
because it's too bright.
Yeah.
But if you go to a dark,
Yeah, let's go to a dark area. Just to,
I have the brightest and I can.
yeah. No, it's fine. I'm going to attempt to show you video on another phone. I'm going to attempt. I just don't think it's going to work. This is an amazing video, and no doubt it's going to be on all the local news channels, from Paulo Falcao, who was driving up just as the scene happened. He saw the earth go across the highway. He saw a house go with that earth and disappear. And perhaps you saw that interview a moment ago. Let's just take a look and see if there's any hope of this playing.
Let's go over there. Oh my gosh! There is no river.
He says there is no river. He's showing a devastated area, washed away. I'm going to try it one more time. Just a moment. Here's a photograph. Here's a photograph taken by Paulo Falcao, the gentleman that you heard interviewed a moment ago, who gave such a compelling account of the earth going across the highway, the cries of a woman and young child for help. I'm just going to scroll through. So those are vehicles that are blocked by the mudslide and just beyond them. I know this is crude and primitive and not ideal, but there's also a video here. Here he is walking up to the scene while investigators are now there.
Oh my gosh, look at that, guys. Look at these.
Just mud and debris along the road. This is walking right up to the scene. My goodness. Just debris and splintered wood, timber, homes. All across the roadway. Debris, mud, guck, crumpled buildings.
Yeah, really? What is going on? Is this something else? I tell you what, man, all I see is firewood. Yeah. I'll dry it off, no problem.
Once again, you're watching video off a cell phone. Video shot by Paulo Falcao, who was one of the first people to arrive on scene, because really the scene arrived to him. He was in a vehicle traveling towards Darrington when the slide went right across the road in front of him and two vehicles in front of him. Seconds earlier, had they been further up the road, they would have been swept away. These are responders in the midst of the muck. This is a very large scene. Someone commented that it was remindful of Mount St. Helens in terms of the lay of the landscape. I get it in terms of timber and muck. Not in scope, but still certainly a large event. Once again, you're watching video shot by Pablo Falcao, a gentleman who was just driving to pick up his kids when the slide went right in front of his vehicle, and the two vehicles directly in front of him. They just missed being hit. And he shot this video of the debris across the roadway and the emergency responders.
That means that they must have just but I didn't think there was anybody in that house.
That's what was a house. That used to be a house. This, they're talking about the baby. Anyway, that was very kind of Pablo Falcao to loan us his phone so that we can look at that video that he shot right there at the scene. Video of the event, the slide that almost took out his vehicle. Had he been, by the sound of it, 5 or 10 seconds further up the road, it would have hit him because he watched it. He said everything turned dark all at once, and then everything went across the road, including a house right across the road. And then he talked about getting out and hearing the cries for help from a small child and a woman who were able to get out, apparently with the help of rescuers. He talked about, Pablo did, people using roofing material to lay flat upon the mud so they can try and walk towards those who were stuck and needed help. I'll be right back. I'm going to give Pablo his phone back. I'm just back from giving Pablo Falcao his phone back. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sirens going off. The wholesale sirens or something. People evacuate.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Okay, here we go. Steep jump. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. We've heard a lot of helicopters here today. Earlier I did a live interview with Como Radio, and now I've got a tweet. I'm a little late looking at my tweets here, but I've got a message from the Seattle Times asking me to give them a call, so I'll keep this live feed going for the moment, and I'm going to step back a little bit and see if I can get a hold of the folks at the Times who want to speak with me. Hi, this is Mark Horner. I was contacted via Twitter to give you guys a call at this number. I'm up at the Slide area near Darrington.
That needs to take priority. Do you agree? Okay.
Hi, John.
What'd you say?
Yeah, I live out near Glacier Peak High School.
I also think our job here for 5 needs to be priority.
Oh, good choice. It worked out well for me. Oh, sure. There you go. Well, yeah, I've actually talked to 3 people now, and what happened was initially got to the first roadblock, which was a mile and a half west of the scene, Buffalo, and they ultimately moved that, and so most of the arrived at the newest roadblock further away from the scene. But I was looking up in there, talking to some locals, and got some good information. I got 2 really good interviews there, and then I interviewed just a moment ago, kind of piggybacked on some Seattle media once they were done, with a gentleman who really is the get when it comes to this story. His name is Pablo Falcao. Yeah, that guy was compelling. So you got him. Then I guess what I could do is to give you a quick summary of the other 2 interviews. One was an older gentleman, he and his wife. But he said he has lived here. I assume that includes his wife. He appears to be in the neighborhood of 65 to 75 years of age. He's lived up here for 40 years. He said. Hey, no problem. He said that he and his wife had gone through a walk on the old railroad tracks in the slide area just an hour before the slide. And so they're feeling very fortunate. And of course, right now, they know people in that area that are affected. So he was his words, praying. And I asked him whether or not they get a lot of flooding in the area. He said, not really. I said, do you get many slides? No. But he did. I believe it was that gentleman who said that there had been a slide in that area about a week ago. In fact, I know it was him. And he said, and I asked, did they tell anybody? Oh yeah, they reported it. Of course, you have to report it. So there was apparently a slide, even though slides seem uncommon here. Apparently there was one, at least according to that gentleman, as recently as about a week ago. Then I talked to a much younger man. I would estimate he was around 24, 25 years old, and he explained to me that he's very concerned about his friend. His friend is okay. He saw him since the slide, but his friend has a family member whose home is not there. So he's trying to contact his friend again. He's hoping to hear from his friend soon to know that his friend's family member is okay. So that is what we have. Okay, well, this is actually a few things I like to come to because I stumbled in Rockport on photograph bald eagles, and I've actually paused here just recently, a few weeks ago, just to sit and marvel at how close the hillsides and the steep slopes are beyond those hillsides to this, I guess, would be technically valleys. So what you basically have is, as really isolated rising, not drastically, it's rising. Definitely as you come up here, and then what you enter is you get that, kind of like the Skagit County hills around you when you're on I-5. You kind of get those smooth rolling low hills, thickly wooded here, and then just beyond them you have these steep slopes of mountains, and then just beyond them you can see in the gaps above the protruding snow-capped peaks of major mountains. And so that kind of helps lay the land for you. You're kind of ensling, I hate to use the word nestle because it's so overused, but you're kind of nestled in. You're kind of nestled in here. What happens is you kind of go further towards, also, those hillsides with the immediate rising elevation as you enter this nestled territory, they become closer to the roadway. They come closer to the roadway. Now the river, as you probably know, is the North Fork of the Still-Squamish. And the local told me that it's running low. Guess what? I looked at the river. It looks like it's running low, but I'm looking at it downriver from where slide has now gone into it, apparently. And what they're really concerned, it doesn't matter if the river was running low, what's happening is the river is now getting backed up. And so you have rising water, and that's the immediate concern. A state trooper at that first roadblock, he told me when I was there, he said, if I didn't have to be here, I wouldn't be here. And I don't think it was just a cliche, fun response, because I'd asked him, do you know this area well? He goes, oh yeah, I know this area well. And so when he told me he would be here, it kind of lent perspective. He did, he also go a couple of minutes to shoot some video of the river nearby, and I did that. Later, as I drifted back about a half mile to go to find that older gentleman and ask for permission to shoot live, because I've been streaming live from his front yard, that trooper went by and said, we're moving the roadblock. They want us out of there. Safety concerns. So that's when they moved the roadblock back to Osolo Road at 5:30. So I'm just guessing, but I'm thinking they're probably at least 2.5 miles away from the actual scene. Well, that's just it, yeah. And I'm telling you though, that Pablo Falcao, if I just say one word about him, this is a guy, just so you know that what he got here, because he also has it in pictures and video, not with the mother moment, but close to it. He's one of 3 vehicles headed eastbound. He's number 3. When all of a sudden he puts it, everything turns dark, and the literally, it's not he gets out, shocked and shaking, and oh my God, the whole 9 yards, and that's what he said. And then he hears the cries of a woman and a child, and the woman's yelling for help, and the child is no older than 1, and is and the woman is crying for help, and people are stopping to try and help. They're laying out rooftops. They want to get some people to help. The woman and child end up getting rescued. Apparently, they get out anyhow. He didn't do it, but others apparently did. But it very well could be. So that was extremely compelling. That guy's a gentleman, really a hero among heroes today, because while they're all at that scene, there is that uncertainty. Perhaps you heard it on the scanner, I did. And it's pretty about getting out of there. Thanks, Steve. Because there was just a lot of concern about how stable the surrounding hillsides are, as well as what the river's going to do. Yeah, well, I'll meet you 2/3 of the way on that statement, because I can't say 100% certainty. I do know that the side of the mountain came down to the side of a very large hill. You've probably seen video or the picture. Okay, and it came down and it went across the roadway. Whether, I don't know, honestly, I don't even know what side of the highway, north or south, the slide was on. And I don't know whether it first went across a river before going across the road. It seems to me, given the lay of the land, that perhaps this was, I'm guessing the slide was on the south side, because I know the river's on, at least down where I was shooting it, was on the north side of the highway. So perhaps it went across road first and then river. That would be my guess, but I don't know. But this guy Pablo, I looked at his video and I screamed and just holding the camera. Not the best view of the glare, but you can see, and he even says it. He goes, "It's blocking the river. It's blocking the river." So there's no doubt that there was debris. There was a large, significant amount of earth in the river that didn't have that there before. Yeah, I'm going to give you 2 numbers, okay? My best number that I'm screening with that phone right now is 425-308-5066. It became numbers like this, but I've got it on airplane mode, so you can interrupt. It's 425-220-7745. And you're always free to I'll DM you when I have a follow. I'll follow you on Twitter. But you're always free to give a shout out if you want to as well. I do check my Twitter. Yeah. Hey, no problem. I hope it does prove helpful for you and help paint the landscape for you as you kind of size up what you guys have put together here. Attack it. Right. Yeah, I'm not intimately familiar with it, but I've been through it several times, and the folks have been very approachable, and given the duress that they're mentally, they're shocked. You don't even have to be directly a part of it. These are people that they do know, and so you can imagine it. Right. It's very quite possible. I'm not really shooting a whole lot of video myself today. I've got a high-def camera here, which is normally my priority, and it's my primary camera. But given the significance of this event, I'm most interested right now in just getting information out, and I'm doing this low-res stream for myself. Yeah, maybe go to Starbucks or something. That'd be great. Hey, I love going to downtown Snohomish. Yeah, Fred. Yeah, I know exactly. You know, they got free Wi-Fi, and I streamed from it across the street the other day, showing the Snohomish River in case we get a little flooding. I'm poised to go high jab. I've already tested the signal. Yeah, there you go. Take care, my friend. You bet. You too. Thanks. Bye. All right. So there was an interview with the Seattle Times, helping them paint the landscape here. This is Mark Warner, Beyond90seconds.com, streaming to you live west of the mudslide location in Oso, Washington. I would guess that we're about 2.5 to 3 miles west of that location now. This is Highway 530, State Route 530, and Oso Loop Road. Earlier in the day, we were only 1.5 miles away from the scene. They had the roadblock there, but they have since moved everyone back further away out of safety concerns, because yes, there is the issue of the instability of the surrounding hillsides, the concern about possible additional mudslides, but there's also the river, a river that locals tell me was running low, but when you put the side of a mountain, or a very large hill at the least, if you want to frame it that way, right in the middle of that river, you're going to have water backing up, and that is a very definite concern right now. I have not done any interviews with officials, while others have been chasing the guys in ties. I've been going after some real people, the folks who live here and that call this place home and are genuinely concerned about their friends and loved ones. Also, though, I've got to paint the picture. I can't help but, as I say that, recall hearing of a firefighter who arrived on scene and looked up the hillside and said, "That's where my house is supposed to be. It's gone," or words expressed to that effect. So whether you're a guy in a tie or not, you're affected by this just by what you're seeing, or you may even live in this area or know someone who does. But I enjoy talking to the real people and then hearing what they're considering, what they know, and what they might have in terms of questions that could be answered. So, I missed the interviews. There were some here earlier with the officials, but I did talk to 3 locals now, and the story that is emerging is obviously a very dark one, and one of a whole lot of concern. And honestly, when I've seen the video now and some photographs of the area, as I'm sure you well have, perhaps even better now than I have seen, as the news crews have arrived, and then they're gathering, and the helicopters are, I assume, shooting aerials. One has to wonder if, how long it might take for the governor to declare this an emergency. Now, maybe that's already been done, but based on what's coming together here, this seems like a no-brainer. This has to be an emergency, and not only in terms of the immediate impact on lives, homes, people. There's travel. This is a well-traveled roadway for a lot of folks who live up in this high country. So we'll have to see what comes of it from the state's response, outside of this immediate response, which has been pulling in the resources from numerous agencies, numerous jurisdictions. I won't go down the long list, but there are several firefighting agencies and other entities that have arrived on scene here, to include by helicopter. So I would expect, I'm kind of reminded, I guess May would make it a year since the Skagit River Bridge collapse. This has that kind of feel to it, but folks, it's even worse because we've lost lives in this one. And there's a lot of uncertainty about what could happen with Mother Nature. You really genuinely never know. So they're dealing with those variables as well. I think what I'll do now is thank you, first off, very kindly for tuning in to watch this live stream. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to stop the stream now and take a break, and if I get more information, I'll go live again and let you know of any new developments. I just want to say thank you so much for watching this stream. Feel free to follow me. I'm on Twitter at Beyond90seconds.com. You might wonder, who is this guy? Yeah, I might wonder that too. My background's in TV news. I was a reporter for 20 years, also shot the videos when I first started out for several years as a one-person band. And I'm also a true crime author, and these days I produce videos and manage social media for a state agency. On my spare time, I still chase news. It's in my blood. You can take the dog out of the fight, but you can't take the fight out of the dog, or something like that. Enough about me. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Take care.